Hello, I'm Paul Briley, and you're listening to Off the Comma. On this podcast, we explore all facets of what it means to feel stuck in life. We talk with people just like us who have found themselves sitting on a comma and not knowing where to go next. We'll unpack the experience, where they felt stuck, what they experienced, and what they learned. My goal is to inspire you by seeing yourself in others and finding possibility for yourself. Let's get into this week's conversation. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Off the Comma. I am so grateful to be able to be here, grateful to be able to continue this work for over 3 years now. I cannot believe, as someone who never even thought I was going to do a podcast, to be here 3 years later and still not even questioning what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. So, and our guest this week is one of 152, 153 or more reasons why I'm here. Aleta and I are going to be having a conversation today. I have not had an opportunity to meet Aleta before, other than in our email exchanges. So I'm very much looking forward to getting to meet you today, Aleta, and learn a little bit about you through your story. And that's what we do here is we tell stories and we share about our experiences with being on the comma and getting off the comma. And so I'm looking to see what I might learn from your experiences today. With that, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to hand it over to you. Aleta, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us first, how would you like to be known? And then you can share any other things that you would like for folks to know about you by way of introduction.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's a privilege to work with you. How I would describe myself is a quiet storm, game changer, life changer.
Mm.
That said, let me break it down. Quiet storm part came about because I speak very softly, as you can tell. And
Mhm.
I've learned that not everyone hears a message if it's bellowed out. Some people hear at lower decibels. You get their attention better sometimes when
Mm.
you come in subtle and quiet. So that's the quiet storm part of me. Game changer, life changer is I like to see people succeed. I like for people to become aware of themselves, be self-aware and have self-acknowledgement about the world around them, and
Mm.
recognize that we as a people, and I say we as a people, are here to help one another grow. That's who I am. Someone
Mm.
out there just quietly moving through life, trying to help people be a better version of themselves and reach their purpose in life, like I feel I've reached mine.
I hear, first of all, thank you for sharing that. And I hear obviously a lot of emphasis on kind of the impact you have on others and in the community. And I'm curious whether you choose to answer now or if it's actually a part of your story later. Is I'm curious, in what ways does that kind of service to others also serve you, or what does it do for you as well? So,
I can answer that now.
okay.
For others, it's just the smile I see on their face when they feel that they've accomplished something that they couldn't have accomplished. Other for me, it's just my spirituality hits me. I know people say, I'm religious. Okay, religion is a practice. And then they say, I'm faithful. Okay, faith is believing without sight. And I go, but what about your spirit, your soul? Because that's what drives you. That's what
Mm.
makes you move in the morning. So what about that? And they go, oh, yes. What about that? And I say, yeah, you got to make that feel good in order to feel good about yourself, in order to have faith in what you're doing, in order to practice the religion you practice, in order to do the things you want to do. So for
Mm.
them, just to have them feel that makes me feel better as a person to know that I'm doing what I believe is my purpose in life.
Isn't it interesting? We're jumping into the conversation a little early here, but it's like I love what you share. It really resonates with me because there's so much conversation out there about all of these topics. What you've shared, and then there's like always a continuum of every topic, right? You talk about being nurtured and fulfilled in your spirit by helping other people connect to their spirit. And then there's this opposite end of the continuum from it, which is like people pleasing and needing the approval of others and so on and so forth. And it's like, that's a whole different kind of territory and conversation from what you're introducing to us, right? It's really more
Yes,
about the
absolutely.
supporting and
It,
helping each other.
yeah, there's a difference between supporting someone and living for someone. When you
Mm,
live for someone, you never really always feel that happiness. But when you live for yourself, that's a different kind of happiness. You don't worry about what people think. It might render in your thoughts, but you don't dwell on it.
mm,
You have to do what's best for you. And I believe that was the part of the catalyst for the book I wrote, These Ran Over Shoes of Mine.
mm,
Because as we go through life, we learn to be resilient. We just sometimes forget, don't understand, put it on the back burner. But we change so often from childhood all the way through to adulthood.
mm-hmm,
As children, in my book, I reference my own childhood, growing up in a community where many people didn't have much, but I knew I was part of the upper echelon of the people who didn't have much.
mm-hmm,
I went to private schools. I lived in the projects for the majority of my life. And a lot of people figure, oh, you're not going to make it. You're not going to be anything good. Well, guess what? I did. I made
mm,
it to Northwestern. I've graduated from another college with my degree. I've helped thousands of people through what a lot of people consider a failing foster care system. I
mm,
currently work with text with friends and family. So it's just to me, it's just an uplift feel to be able to live for yourself and not
mm-hmm.
so much for others. And that's not to say that you don't from time to time do that, because you do. I mean, you have to live
Sure.
in this world of other people. So sometimes you do live for other people. Like I lived for my mom when she was sick to be able to take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
But to live for yourself and decide what is purposeful for you makes a world of difference, I believe.
Mm. Well, and I love what you say, and it's like interesting. I want to get into your story too, and I know I'm kind of inviting the conversation, but it, it, it seems like healthy people appreciate seeing people who are living for themselves and kind of leading their path and their journey. And even the people who might, be described as jealous or who are not supporting of it or seem to be, feeling a certain way about it, right? It's often because there's something in it that they admire or envy or potentially are even jealous of, right? I
Yes,
want to get into your story. So, and give you the space to talk so that I'm talking less. Is there anything else you'd like people to know about you by way of introduction before we jump in?
I like reading. I like writing. Like I said, I like helping. I think that's my
Hmm.
purpose.
Okay. All right. Before we get into the five questions, the one question I ask every guest at the beginning is, Alita, as you think ahead to the next 30 minutes or so of telling your story to us and sharing with us, what intention would you have for yourself today?
My intentions for today is hopefully have people acquire my book, These Ran Over Shoes of Mine, and find themselves in it and find a
Hmm.
path. Use it as a tool, as a guide to who they feel they want to be in life.
Okay. My intention today is to support you in your intention, create a space for you to be able to share your story with us, and that there will be people out there who will, in the telling of your story, even see a little bit of themselves in you and what you share, that they will feel potentially a little bit more connected, a little less alone, and in the best of cases, maybe even inspired or empowered to go out and do something that they've been wanting to do.
Absolutely. I hope that's what we accomplished today.
Well, then let's get into it. So, question one, Alita, is where in your life have you found yourself sitting on a comma?
Well, I've sat on several commas. The first being in my childhood, as I previously expressed, where I grew up initially in a home where we struggled financially until my mom was able to acquire a job. There was
Mhm.
five of us plus a stepsister, but we made it. We made it work with my grandmother, who was all who taught me a lot as well as a teacher. That was my first comma. Like, how do I get beyond what I see on an everyday basis?
Mm.
Young girls having babies early, um, individuals robbing, going out, doing, going to jail, alcoholism, drug use, poverty. So that was my first comma. And with the help of my mom and my grandmother and my stepfather, which I refer lovingly to as my father, we made it out. We were one of the fortunate families to make it out. My second comma I set on was during my college years, the struggle to go to school with elites, as we would call
Mm.
them. As many people are familiar, Northwestern is a school of elites sometimes.
Mhm.
So that had me questioning all that I had learned, my education, my being who I was and where I was going. That had me questioning whether I was good enough. And I know
Mm.
I was. I mean, an honor student, who's who in America's high school students, all A's, private school, top of my class, 7 out of 10. All of it was there. But when I got there, it's like, okay, I don't know if I fit. I don't know if I
Mm.
belong. So that was my second comma. My third comma came after being on a job for 19 years. One day they just decided, okay, your position is no longer needed. And I'm like, okay, now what do I do? Where do I
Mhm.
start? Where do I begin? Because all I had ever known was social services. I did retail during my teenage years, but
Mhm.
social services have been the hugest part of my adult life. So when they decided to eliminate my position, I think I cried. I think I cried
Mhm.
because I was like, okay, how do I pay my bills? How do I navigate this? What else is there out there for me? Because I hadn't explored anything else. I had a degree, it wasn't in social services. And I just didn't know what to do with it because I had reached an age where the degree I had, not that it wasn't sufficient enough, but now I'm competing against younger kids coming out of school with even more technology, more awareness. And I just think I had a breakdown moment.
Mhm.
Literally, I believe I went into depression a little bit. Then toppled that shortly after with my mom becoming ill. So now I'm like, okay, now what do I do? How do I survive this? How do I manage a kid, my mom, looking for a job, so forth and so forth. Mm. That was my third comma. And then
Mm.
here I am now today after two social service agencies, um, the my mom's passing, new job, and I can see the light now, honestly.
Mm.
So
Mm.
those are the pauses in my life.
I want to reflect a couple of things, but the very first thing I'd like to do is an acknowledgement, and certainly, my condolences on the passing of your mother,
Thank you.
especially as you haven't shared a lot about her, but I get a sense from what you have shared that she had a very big influence on your life. Because even as you described your first comma and your growing up years, you didn't say I got out of it. You said we got out of it. And so I sense, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that there was a strong relationship and a bond there because of how you identified yourself as we, not just as me in those years.
Yes, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. We are a strong, tight knit family.
Mm-hmm.
We are a family of service. There are firefighters, policemen, doctors,
Mm.
lawyers, social workers, realtors. Almost everyone in my family is in some form of service.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's what carry us a lot. A lot of people say when they enter our family, they feel like it's home and
Mm-hmm.
it's where they belong because we
Mm.
don't judge. I don't believe we judge
Mm-hmm.
the individuals that come to us and just want to be a part of something. So when I
Mm.
say we, I do mean we as in family, We, as in the people we choose to be our family, we, as in the people of our friends and associates that join us as a family. I mean, you enter my family and you can go, "Is that your cousin so and so?" And I'm looking and I'm kind of laughing because they're not biologically family, but I'll sit there and go, "Yeah, that's my cousin so and so." And
Yeah.
we'll laugh together about it because that's how the word we comes about, because we are very committed, very united in this family.
I love that because I've never used this phrase before, but in hearing you say it, it's like blood isn't the only thing that shows similarity, right? Like
Yeah,
blood can show similarity, and then also love can show similarity. When you act and believe and love on each other the same way a biological family may, um, people will see what they believe is a connection, and they are seeing a connection. It's just not a biological one, right?
absolutely. It's like in my book, I describe it as the tie dye shoes.
Mm,
Because if you think about tie dye, it's usually various colors and various patterns on various objects.
hmm
So we look at it, or I look at it as the tie dye connection. We may all be different. We may all come from a different origin, but we have commonality that brings us together very
hmm
strongly and supportive of one another.
hmm
If one does, all does. That's how we
Yeah.
are.
Alita, I want to go back to your comma and just unpack this a little bit because there's so much that you could talk about, and there's so many different directions we could go here. I want to just reflect back a little bit of the three commas that you shared. And throughout our conversation, as I reflect things back, if I misstate or misidentify something, please do correct me. What I notice is like the three commas, the first one was getting out, the second one was fitting in, and the third one was now where, now what? Like when you built kind of the story of these three milestones in your life, what would you say the being on the comma has in common among those?
From getting out to fitting in to where I am now, the thing that they have in common is me recognizing that the fight doesn't always end. When
Mm,
you're in that pain, as some people call it, or when you're in that situation, as others call it, you have to be able to see what they quote unquote light at the end of the tunnel.
mm-hmm,
So, all three in totality or separately land on the resilience part. Get up, pull your bootstraps up. As my grandma would say, put your big girl drawers on, excuse my
mm-hmm.
language.
You use whatever language you need to. I mean, people are
But
very free in this format.
and she would say, keep it moving. You don't have time to sit down and wait. You got one life to live and live it well. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how she lived her life. That's how my mom lived her life. That's how I want to live mine,
Mm-hmm.
is being able to take those, all those commas in my life, reflect upon them and say, but I made it, I did it, and I'm still strong and going.
Mm. When let me, you know what? I had like two or three questions. Let me go to the second of the five questions, and there'll be an opportunity there for you to kind of expand as much as you want to, go backwards, go
Mm-hmm.
forwards. Question two is, as you look back at these three commas that you were describing, what did that create for you?
If I were to look back at them, I would say it created for me a space to be myself.
Mm,
It helped me know that I'm okay to be me. It's okay that I'm a little different. It's okay I'm a little eccentric. Hence my movement in my business is being eccentrically me every day, which
mm,
for me means that I can be me no matter what the circumstances are, whether they're changing around me or not. And if I'm changing and the circumstances are staying the same, I still can be me. It's still okay to be
mm,
me no matter what, whether the circumstances are changing or I'm changing, that it's okay. And that's what it did for me. Those three commas created that space for me to be able to feel that. Because to be honest, again, as sometimes I really didn't feel that way.
Hmm. You answered a question that I had because obviously in our email exchanges, I knew there was a meaning to your email kind of the structure, the name of your email. So now that kind of answers that question. I love it actually. You let's go a little deeper into the be me because you said it gave me the freedom and the space to be myself. You talked repeatedly about being me, and then you said you didn't always feel that way. Like, what would you say to us right now about being me? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of things. Like, what's the most important part of being you that you think that you would like to share with everybody?
In being me, I think the most important part is to be able to be expressive. As like I said, like a quiet storm, if right is
Hmm.
aware of a quiet storm and what it does, it comes in real quiet, but it can do a lot of damage. But afterwards, it also brings the good. It have people really genuinely reflect on what's important in their lives. And I feel
Hmm.
like that's what's important to me is to be able to, as they say now, pivot when necessary, not
Hmm.
stay stuck like a lot of people tend to do.
Hmm.
And that's that part of the eccentric of being eccentrically me every
Mm.
is to be able to say, I might be down, but I can begin again. I might be here, but there's other places to go.
Hmm.
So that is what it does for me.
You've really drawn me in because there's words that you've used that I'm self-referencing in here right now, right?
That's okay.
Yeah, and I think, I'm hearing a couple of things. So, confirm, disprove, or expand. That the freedom and the space to be me is to be able to start over as often as I need to be whatever version of me I need to be today or for this situation or this context. And you said, being able to pivot. It seems like I can't find the right word for it, but it seems like there's something also behind that. Like those are the things that you kind of do, and then there's something about who you are or the spirit that drives you that kind of makes those things possible. I don't know. Maybe I'm fishing here, but you tell me.
There is, um, I would say, to show my children a lot, a life, um,
Mm,
to show them where I came from. I've taken my youngest back to my childhood home to show her that where she is may be privileged, but that's not the end of the story. So when you
mm,
ask me what's behind that, it's my family and my kids, to make sure that they know that there's more. It doesn't have to be more in terms of financial woes and or more in terms of a financial windfall or acquiring things in life. Because as we all are aware of, more money, more problems sometimes.
mhm.
But I want them to be comfortable in knowing that they have been equipped with the skills and the enlightenment, because not just skills, the enlightenment of life to make it. So
Yeah.
that's my push behind me.
That's what I think. Thank you for saying that. I think that was the piece that just for me right now in the conversation, I was like, it feels like there's one more part in there, but it's like there's more to know. There's more to understand, right? And there's more knowledge. And the more you know, then honestly, the wealthier you are, right? Because there's
Yes.
financial wealth, there's physical wealth, and there's so forth. But what I believe I'm hearing you say as a writer, as someone who's here telling the story, as someone who's describing, you know, being very open and honest and transparent with your family about the whole story, right? That is where the it is a form of abundance, maybe. sometimes I try to like simplify things that don't need to be simplified, but it seems like there's a freedom in that, isn't there?
It is. It is. It's truly a freedom. I say to people a lot of times when they like you ask me my story, and I'll joke about a couple of things in my life, and I'll say my story is one of simple complication, and they're like that's an
Mm,
oxymoron, but it's the truth. My life
mm,
is
mm,
a simple complication kind of mix. Like it's simply complicated, or I'm a simply complicated person on
mm,
the on the outskirts. It's like people may say, "Oh, she's very simple," but there's a lot of complexities and levels to me as well that I had
mm,
to learn to use to make it. And it's described in the book. These ran over shoes of mine, which is appropriate for the title because we all try on figuratively and metaphorically different pairs of shoes.
mm,
Like my high heels represented my life with my girls when I what we call kicking it. We out in the clubs, that's your 20s. Everybody wants to kick it.
mm-hmm,
Everybody wants to experience it. But then that gets old. And there's my marriage shoes. And then there's my, you know, shoes of college. And then finally just that comfortable pair. Um, that's how it works for me on that level. Then there are
mm,
other parts of my life when people want to say you religious. No, I'm not religious. I joke of two ways, and I know some people might say, "Oh Lord, she's saying this," but I think of it like this. I do call myself a Christian. Um, that's the title given to a person that believes in Christ.
mm-hmm,
However, I'll say, well, I'm really not a full Christian. They'd be like, what are you saying? And this is the simply complex part. I say I'm an in. They say, what is an in? I said an individual attempting newness like Christ, because I don't have that Christ part quite down right, because I still make
mm,
mistakes and I still do wrong. Just trying to get like that. And they go, oh, okay. And then I say, but if we ever meet in heaven, which I know people say you won't know people when you get to heaven. I said, but if we ever get in heaven, here's what's going to happen. If I'm standing in front of you or you're standing in front of me, trust and believe. I'm not going to be trying to account for your story because I'm too busy trying to account for my own story. So it's like, I'm going to be
mm,
standing up there saying, hey, God, listen, hold on. I can explain why they did what they did because I need to be explained what I did, why I did what
yeah.
I did. And that's where it falls back to the beginning where we started. My purpose in life is to help everyone or as many people as I can figure out who they are so that the things they do in life are beneficial to them and makes this world a better place before they
Mm.
leave.
It just reinforces what you shared with us already about being me, right? Like, I am going to be me by explaining and justifying or talking about the things that I need to be focusing on. And I also hear, even in the way you reference your faith, right? There's a being me in there, and that you are, you know, understanding your own personal relationship with what you believe in or who you believe in, right? And that you're focused on your individual relationship. And, we don't talk about the current environment here and everything, but I think we all know that, one of the things that happens in our world today in the West is that in matters of religion and so many other things, like everybody seems to have different interpretations of what things mean for them, and that's neither here nor there. What I'm hearing you say is that you're very thoughtful about what it means for you, and you are being you with also an awareness and understanding of what you're modeling for other people.
Exactly. Because for me, it's about respecting the individual.
Hmm.
Uh, because if we were all meant to be the same, we would all look the same. There would be no differentiation between what you do and what I do. But because we have free will,
Hmm.
we've been given free will, we need to use it. We need to use it, but in a respectful way, because everyone has their own mind, their own thoughts. And I believe as long as you're not doing harm to yourself or anyone else, then practice your free will to do good.
Hmm. Let me dive into the third question here, Alita, and then again continue to expand or take
Mhm.
us wherever you need to. What have you learned about yourself, or maybe even what are you learning about yourself as a result of sitting on those and other commas?
I learned that I'm vulnerable. I didn't want to admit that at first, but I am. I'm
Mm.
vulnerable. I've learned about myself how in the past it was like, please, 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 please everyone, please everybody, anything, anywhere, just be pleasing, very pleasing.
Mm.
And I had to learn for myself and about myself when it comes to that. Like, you don't have to please everyone, and pleasing everyone doesn't always get you what you need. So I had to learn to kind of let go and step back sometimes. Be like, okay, they didn't like what I said. They didn't like what I did. They don't like who I am. They don't like how I look. It's okay. That's
Mm.
your opinion. You're entitled to it. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm okay with what I think. I'm okay with what I did. And yeah, I make mistakes just like everyone else.
Mm.
I might on the surface seem perfect to some, but in honesty, I had to learn about myself, the vulnerabilities that I have, how wrong I can be, um, and just being able to walk away sometimes
Mm-hmm.
with just the okay. It's okay instead of it's great. It's fantastic. Just to be able to walk away with it's okay.
Yeah. Let me jump in for a moment, if I may. Every episode, as guests like yourself tell stories, there's a lot of folks who are out here listening, and there's certain parts of it that we can relate to, and we're like, yeah, yeah, I get it, and right, and there's a lot of assuming going on because we feel like we're tracking, right? And then there's always a moment where it's like, wait, hold on, let's peel that back a little bit. Let's go deeper into your specific experience. And you just gave me an opportunity for one of those. So you said, I used to please people in the past, and I've gotten to a point now where I don't have to. I'm okay being me. I can walk away. You know, I don't worry about what they think anymore. So here's kind of the question that I'm curious about that I think others could really benefit from is you and I both know that you can sit here today and say that and you've come to that place, but you didn't come to that place without some kind of work, right? Maybe a lot, maybe a little. What was it like for you, or what is the thing you do? And maybe I'm kind of asking, like, what's the thing you do in here in your head and in here in your heart that actually allows you to get to that place where now I don't care about what they say or that I can walk away? Because sounds simpler than it really is in real life. Is that true? Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. And again, that's where the simply complicated part comes in at.
Mm.
In my mind, I do an evaluation.
Hmm.
Like I'll start out with like, okay, what are they feeling? Why are they feeling that way? What am I emulating to them that may be making them feel this way? Is it me? The way I'm speaking? Is it too much pressure that I'm trying to apply? Is my opinion clear? Am I trying to hear what they are saying? Am I not only hearing, but am I listening to what they have to say? And I take all that information in and I evaluate it up here, like you said, in my head
Hmm.
to say, okay, Alita, this might be a situation where you need to step back a little bit, give them room to breathe.
Hmm.
Or it might be the situation where I'm saying, okay, I know I have a point. We're agreeing upon it, but we're agreeing upon it from different perspectives. We're coming to the same
Hmm.
solution, but from different perspectives. Not that we disagree, but we're coming from the same thing. And then even in the points where we disagree, I evaluate that and say, okay, well, this might be just one of those points where we're going to disagree from. I take
Hmm.
that knowledge from my head, as you say, down to my heart and say, okay, let's take your feelings out of it first. Let's decide what feels right and what feels wrong. We all have that
Hmm.
instinct to do that.
Hmm.
And I say, this feels right to me, this doesn't. This feels okay, and this doesn't. And then I combine the two, what I have known from my mind with what my heart is feeling. And that combination usually brings up a solution for me in working with other people.
Hmm.
So that's
Okay.
how I come to those areas where you have to pivot and know how to
Mm.
pivot. Because it's not just everybody, that's the buzzword now, pivot, pivot, pivot.
Right.
You can pivot all day long, but if you don't know why, you don't know when, and you don't know how, okay, you're just pivoting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
pivoting to what? Where? How?
I so appreciate, thank you for even just like saying what you just said and the way you just said it, right? Because pivots become such a buzzword, like you said, and I feel like it's kind of weaponized in corporate America too, because it's like, oh, everybody has to pivot. You got to be able to shift on a dime. And it's like, but you just described it. It's like pivoting for its own sake is no more than being a leaf blown around in the wind, right? Like pivoting with intention is something entirely different. And usually that involves more of a turn or a shift or a redirection, right? So
Absolutely.
I, and I appreciated too how you walked us through kind of the work you do within yourself. What I hear you describe is, that you take a pause, you reflect, you reflect both mentally in your head and in your mind, and then there's some reflecting and checking in, with your heart and your spirit and your feelings and so forth. And that's the place where it usually gets to me. Like I can logic it out intellectually when, I'm not going to please that person and I can be okay with it. I can get there intellectually. It's the heart piece where it's like, oh, but it still hurts and oh, I still would. And that's where I have to do a lot of talking to myself and like talking myself into being okay with somebody else not being happy.
Exactly. That right,
Mm.
that point right there.
Hmm.
You have to be okay with other people not being happy and not blame yourself for it.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people say, "Oh my God, I upset them." Okay, you may have in some circumstances, but sometimes the individual is already hurting, and you may have brought to light that hurt, and they weren't ready to face it.
Mm.
So again, that's buzzword pivot. How you have to be able to, like I said, be self aware. That's part of self
Hmm.
awareness. Is that okay? I
Hmm.
live on this earth with other people, and they do have feelings, and yes, I might hurt them, but are there times where really I wasn't the catalyst for the hurt? I just happened to be the receiving end of what had already been there. That I may
Mm.
have triggered something to bring it back to the surface that they had hidden before.
Mm. It's almost like you didn't use these words, and if this is not what you mean, then by all means tell me. But it's like you kind of emphasize and highlight the fact that we may all have interactions with other people and impact on other people, and sometimes we're just a mirror for other people. And unfortunately, as the reflection of their reflection, we're the ones who are going to receive how they react to a reflection of something within themselves. I don't know if that made sense the way I just said it, but
Well, let's see if it made sense. I see it as sometimes when you're talking to people or you're relating with people, they begin to see things in you that they see in themselves that
hmm.
maybe they like it on you, but they don't particularly like it on themselves. So what they're going to do is tell you, well, I don't like that. And you're sitting there
Hmm.
like, but it fits me. And you're not
Mm.
understanding why they don't like it. And it's because they probably didn't like it for themselves. And you're not the reason that they don't like it on for
Yeah.
themselves or for you. It's they haven't exactly realized or evaluated why that is so important for them to like or not like um,
Hmm.
in
Mm.
one perspective or another on you or for them.
Yeah.
And until they're ready to open up and be acceptable of that, it makes it a struggle.
It's so powerful, isn't it? Because right now we're using it in the they sense, as in what somebody else is doing and how they're experiencing it and how it affects us. And what I have tried to do is shift it into the me sense, right? Like
Yes,
every time I get judgy or mean or critical about somebody else, whether it's somebody out on the sidewalk or somebody in the room with me or whatever, the thing that helps, which I think really ties into what you're saying and sharing
it
with us
does.
today, is the piece that really helps is when I'm like, oh, the only reason I have a reaction is because it's a mirror, something there that I don't like in me or myself or that I need to attend to,
And
right?
I admit, I do it from time to I do. We're human.
Hmm.
I do. I'll sit there and say, "Oh, I don't like that color on her." Or I don't
Mm.
like the way she said that. And I have to say, wait a minute. Is it because you really don't like it? Or is it because it's something, you've done in the
Yes.
past and you've learned from
Yes.
it?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, again, you have to give them their space for them to learn from it.
Yeah.
Just because you've learned from it doesn't mean everybody else has at that moment. And I
Yeah.
believe in giving people that space because I would want that same for myself. Because again, there are times when I do step a little off the road and
Mm-hmm.
become a little judgmental. And that's
Mm.
again, that's where you have to, in your head, work it out and then work it out in your heart
Mm.
so that you can recognize
Mm-hmm.
your effect on people, whether it be positive or negative, and just stay, focused.
Yeah. You're sharing grown-up learnings that should be kindergarten lessons, right?
Absolutely. What's
Let's
the poem? All I needed to know I learned in kindergarten. Oh yeah, we should go
right.
back to that poem, all right, and add a few
Right.
things.
Let me ask you the fourth question. I feel like you've already answered it to a small degree, but add to this. What has changed for you as a result of sitting on these commas?
Again, what has changed for me is the idea again that I'm I'm vulnerable, I'm fallible, I make mistakes, but I can get up from those mistakes. Whether
Mm,
they be right or wrong, left or right, up or down, I can keep moving. That pain, you can work through it. Not saying for me it ever goes away, but I don't have to let it drive my life.
mm,
Like the loss of my mom. If you've ever lost anyone, which we all have, because we know there's a date that we all come and go, people will say, sorrow comes in night, but joy comes in the morning. Yeah, but there's going to be a lot more nights of that sorrow. But I have to also remember there's going to be a lot more of those joyous days.
mm-hmm,
So for me, that is what I've learned about myself is
mm,
to give myself space as though I were giving that space to others,
mm,
to be able to know that there is, I won't say a per se a comeback, but there is a path that which I can get on that can lead me to a better me.
mm. And I also believe, you tell me if I'm wrong here, but I believe you're saying here having hope. Yet, what I think there's a distinction there. It's like that you're actively claiming hope or you're actively like allowing for hope. Mm, because it seems like as you talk about, being able to get up and that there will be a morning and that sort of thing, like sometimes it doesn't always feel that way, right? And so
No, it doesn't.
it doesn't just automatically, oh, okay, magically I have hope and tomorrow will be a better day. Sometimes you have to tell yourself that, which is an act of claiming, right?
Yes, absolutely. You have to be able to say to yourself, there is hope.
Hmm.
After you, it's like when you teach children in preschool, kindergarten, the repetitiveness of words. A is for apple, B is for boy. It's so they learn to internalize it. So if you repeat to yourself enough that I am somebody, there is hope out there for me, I can do this. If you repeat it enough to yourself, you're going to believe it. I truly
Hmm.
believe that. I know people say, well, that's not for everyone. Um, and I do often when I feel like, even for myself, when I feel like I can't feel that hope, I do seek professional help.
Hmm.
I addressed that in my book as well. Like I spoke to a lot of therapists just to continually hope for that hope. Um, like they say, hope upon hope upon hope. You got to believe it. And I
Hmm.
know the struggle is you say, how do you believe it? How do you know when to stop believing in it? How do you know why you shouldn't stop believing in hope? You should never stop believing in hope or opportunity
Hmm.
as long as you have a breath in your body to live.
Hmm.
Your
It,
hope starts the day you go in the ground.
It's interesting, right? Because in the story that you share there, right? Like taking action is hope. And if you were able to take action, then you already had hope to begin with, even if it didn't feel like it,
Yes.
right?
And
Like that's just the moving forward, just the getting up is proof that the hope is there, no matter how far away it feels like.
if you even if you're thinking about it, even
Hmm.
even just the simple thought of, I can hear people saying, I can't go on. But if you're thinking like that, then you must know that there's the ability to go on.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. Yes.
Yeah, because that thought in itself leads you to know that, well, if I'm saying I can't go on, then why am I saying this? Then there must be something I want to get to that makes
Hmm.
me feel like I can't, but I want to. So it's like a circle, you know?
Yeah, it's the ability to question, right? It's a
Yeah,
similar kind of conversation when people talk about narcissists and people self-reflect. It's like, oh my gosh, am I a narcissist? I wonder if I'm a narcissist. Well, if you're asking the question, then you're not a narcissist,
right, right,
right?
exactly. That circular thinking, like when you have
Yeah.
to ask yourself about it,
It wouldn't
you know,
occur to them. Yeah. So
right,
if it occurred to you to question whether you can go on, then it's proof, it's evidence that you already have the capability to go on, right?
yes, absolutely.
Alita, let me ask the fifth question. And there's so much I could tell you and I could sit here and chew on a rope for days and days and days, and so many things we could talk about. But uh, let's start to bring things to a close. Question five is, what does getting off the comma look like for you?
To get off the comma, what does that look like to me? It looks like reaching my ultimate. I know everybody say ultimate what? Just my
Mm,
ultimate, whatever that is.
mm,
Being again so comfortable with myself that no matter what occurs in my life, or doesn't occur in my life, again, I'm okay with that. I'm not superior with it. I'm not overjoyed with it. I'm just okay. And I know, again, another cliche people say is it's okay to be okay,
mm,
because I think for me to get off that comma, to be able to say okay means I'm not stressed out about trying to meet expectations set for me, by me, or with me. It allows me, again, that space to say, it's okay that that didn't happen the way I wanted it to. It's
mm, mm,
okay that maybe I'm not living my millionaire life. It's okay to speak out of turn or be different, but it's also okay that I'm here
mm,
and that I'm living the life that's pleasing to me. And maybe
mm,
someday that okay may be my ultimate, but for right now, I'm okay.
mm. I love, I'm actually writing down something that you said. That's going to be the title of your episode, by the way. Um, I so appreciate everything that you've shared with us today, and I know that there are layers and levels of depth to these stories that you've only had a brief amount of time to share with us today. For people who want to learn more about you, maybe follow you on your socials, potentially even reach out to you, I'll be sure to put all the links in the show notes. Where can people find you and connect with you?
I'm on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and I have a YouTube channel, which you can use either the acronym of Be Me, BEME, or
Mhm.
you can search it Being Eccentrically Me Every Day. I also have a website that will link you to all my social media, my LinkedIn accounts. Everything is Be Me or Being Eccentrically Me Every Day. My personal website is www.bemeauthentically.com, and that will take you to my social media sites. Right now, I say my personal website is finding itself too. It's learning to be okay with what it is for right now, but
Mhm.
it's making improvements on itself. But if you want to meet up with me, you can meet me in those spaces for inspiration, resources, and connections that are meaningful.
I love that. And I love how you threw in there, my website's learning to be okay too. That's awesome. One more thing that we do here at the end of every episode that I feel like is really important, because you being here today is part of what this podcast is all about, right? Is being able to hear people's stories, lifting up the stories and experiences of everyday people like ourselves. We don't have to look to celebrities and millionaires for the answers, right? The answers are in our
Right.
community. And your story wouldn't be complete if I didn't give you an opportunity to lift up others. And so I call this section acknowledgments, and it's your opportunity to give a voice to, boost, lift up others who matter to you. And that could be other causes, organizations, it could be other creators, or just important people in your life or your family and friend circles who matter to you. Who would you like to acknowledge today? And I'll be sure to include references to them in the show notes.
Well, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge all my family and all my friends that have supported me through my ups and downs, my job losses, my starting over, trying to help me navigate this new entrepreneurship. I'd like to thank those who talk to me on a daily to keep me uplifted through my texting and private conversations. I also want to thank, and I know this is going to sound a little crazy, those people who did let me go, my previous
Mm,
employers, because I think if I had stayed, I don't think I would be where I am today. I also like to thank the organizations I work with. Destiny Alliance is one that I'm very, very attached to. Some counseling services and friends, they know who they are. And just all my Facebook followers, my Twitter followers, um, my besties, my, as they
mm,
say, your ride and dies. Um, just just an abundance of people within my village and within my circle that
mm,
continually support me as I try to navigate this entrepreneurial slash author kind of path that I'm on right now.
mm.
So,
Wonderful.
and you,
Well,
of course, you
oh,
for giving me this opportunity. I'm
that is
very
very kind
delighted
of
to be in
you.
your presence. You
Well,
have a spirit that I feel is so uplifting and so inspirational. And
mm,
I am hoping, there's that word, hoping, that your messages and you resonate throughout this world, that you bring
mm.
comfort to people and resources and knowledge and hope.
Thank you. That is so kind of you, and that is my intention, and I don't do it out here by myself, right? I'm just the carrier, if you will, but that we all do it together. So I love that, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I will definitely look forward to following your journey. I wish we had more time to talk, and I just want to wish you a wonderful weekend ahead, and thank you for joining our community of storytellers today.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna wish you a good weekend as well. I know you're on the sunny coast. We're a little bit, we're in our 4 seasons a day right now.
Oh no, that's right.
We got our winter, spring, summer, and fall going on this week.
Hmm.
So
Well, and at the time of this recording too, like it seems like all four corners of the United States, everybody's weather is like a different season than what it's supposed to be. So,
yeah, we've gone
oh
from
man.
hot, cold, warm. I mean, we've had all seasons in one day.
That's the center of the country for you, right? Well,
Yes.
enjoy your weekend, and I will look forward
Same.
to the next time we connect.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
What an honor it is for me to hear and share these powerful stories. I hope you feel the same way. Think about what you learned from this conversation. I encourage you to write it down in some form of journaling or reflection, because surprises can reveal themselves to you when you write your thoughts down. If you were moved by today's conversation, pass it along to someone you care about. And if you do discover something you'd like to unpack further, book a call with me and let's talk about it. My links are in the show notes. Be sure to like this episode and follow the podcast here on this platform and all social media at Off the Comma. Feel free to interact and comment. Thank you for listening to this episode of Off the Comma. As always, keep noticing and keep listening.